even the violent reaction after 1848 and the return of all Europe to military practices never for a moment shook the true faith. No one except Karl Marx foresaw radical change. What announced it? The world was producing 60 or 70 millions tons of coal and might be using nearly 1 million steam horsepower, just beginning to make itself felt. All experience since the creation of man, all divine revelation or human science conspired to deceive and betray a 12-year-old boy who took for granted that his ideas, which were alone respectable, would be alone respected. Viewed from Mount Vernon Street, the problem of life was as simple as it was classic. Politics offered no difficulties, for there the moral law was a sure guide. Social perfection was also sure, because human nature worked for good, and 3 instruments were all she asked: suffrage, common schools, and press. On these points, doubt was forbidden. Education was divine, and man needed only a correct knowledge of facts to reach perfection. Were half the power that fills the world with terror, were half the wealth bestowed on camps and courts given to redeem the human mind from error, there were no need of arsenals nor forts. Nothing quieted doubt so completely as the mental calm of the Unitarian clergy. In uniform excellence of life and character, moral and intellectual, the score of the Unitarian clergymen above Boston who controlled society and Harvard College were never excelled. They proclaimed as their merit that they insisted on no doctrine, but taught or tried to teach the means of leading a virtuous, useful, unselfish life, which they held to be sufficient for salvation. For them, difficulties might be ignored, doubts were waste of thought, nothing exacted solution. Boston had solved the universe, or had offered and realized the best solution yet tried. The problem was worked out. Of all the conditions of his youth which afterwards puzzled the grown-up man, this disappearance of religion puzzled him most. The boy went to church twice every Sunday. He was taught to read his Bible, and he learned religious poetry by heart. He believed in a mild deism. He prayed. He went through all the forms. But neither to him nor to his brothers or sisters was religion real. Even the mild discipline of the Unitarian Church was so irksome that they all threw it off at the first possible moment, and never afterwards entered a church. The religious instinct had vanished and could not be revived, although one made in later life many efforts to recover it. That the most powerful emotion in man, next to the sexual, should disappear might be a personal defect of his own, but that the most intelligent society, led by the most intelligent clergy, in the most moral conditions he ever knew, should have solved all the problems of the universe so thoroughly as to have quite ceased making itself anxious about past or future, and should have persuaded itself that all the problems which had convulsed human thought from earliest recorded time were not worth discussing, seemed to him the most curious social phenomenon he had he had to account for in a long life. The faculty of turning away one's eyes as one approaches a chasm is not unusual. And Boston showed, under the lead of Mr. Webster, how successfully it could be done in politics. But in politics, a certain number of men did at least protest. In religion and philosophy, no one protested.